Welcome, ladies. I just wanted to do a quick, kind of a Valentine's Day live today. So one of the things I've done some videos and posted some things on compassion and self-compassion in our group, but it's so important that we give ourselves that self-love. And I thought, I was going to talk about some nutrition stuff today, and then I was like, you know what? It's Valentine's Day. I completely forgot it was Valentine's Day. And, we need to take that time to have that self-love, that self-compassion. There's an abundance of research looking at self-compassion. It makes a difference in our lives. And if you're like me, I grew up being very self-critical, and it's still something that I work on a lot. But I grew up in an alcoholic household, and I was told I was stupid and not good enough and all of those types of things, and really internalized that and found that, those were the words I ended up kind of taking over for my dad, and I started, feeding that language to myself, that negative language to myself or self-talk. So it was like, you walk past the mirror and it's like, oh, you look like crap today, or you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, and people are going to find out you're a fraud. It didn't matter how well I did in school, how many accolades I got, it just didn't matter, because it was still that underlying voice that I was hearing. And when I was in school and I started getting into the research on self-compassion, it's pretty amazing. And I kind of always felt like I needed to be critical to kind of get myself to go, like to motivate myself. But what the research shows is that it does exactly the opposite. When we are self-critical, it undermines everything. It undermines our self-esteem. It actually undermines our ability to be successful in business, because it lowers our self-efficacy. It lowers our motivation, and we actually become more afraid to even take chances and to pick ourselves back up when we fall. And we're always going to have times where we fall. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. And it's our pain that we can turn into purpose and to become something more and a better human being and be there more for other people, because we have that empathy and understanding, compassion for them as well. So when we look at the research, a lot of times people think if I'm self-compassionate, if I'm like going to be too giving to myself and I'll just sit around and, eat cookies all day and expect some, great things. And what we see is exactly the opposite. What happens when people are self-compassionate is they actually have increased internal motivation. So it's not that external stuff, but we have that internal drive, that purpose and meaning in our lives. We have more energy, we have more vitality, we have better dietary habits when we have self-compassion. We have reduced anxiety, stress, and depression. One of the really cool things that we also see when we have self-compassion, when we have compassion in general, when we even think about giving and we give, we release pleasure chemicals in the brain like dopamine and oxytocin. The cool thing about self-compassion is that we also release the beautiful chemicals ourselves when we connect with ourselves and when we're good and kind to ourselves. And God doesn't tell us to be nice to everybody else and to be, pray for our enemies and love our enemies and then hate on ourselves. We are to love ourselves and have that self-kindness as well, and that self-love for us. What's cool is that we release, when we connect with ourselves, and I'm giving myself a little hug, we connect to that mammalian caregiving system when we are good to ourselves, and physical touch, just like if you were to soothe a child, giving yourself physical touch just to kind of connect, and especially when it's a time of stress or a time of pain or suffering, or just in general, just to be nice to yourself, befriend yourself and be good to yourself and just say, I'm here for you. When we do that, and that physical connection, it connects that mammalian caregiving system. We release oxytocin, which allows us to have trust and connection and bonding with ourselves. Oxytocin is a hormone that originally, when I first learned about it as an undergrad, way back when, it allows us, it's bonding to infants. So like when mothers would nurse their children, they would have a bonding with the baby. So of course, it's just that natural thing that God's put in us, right? To allow bonding, but we can bond with other people when we're compassionate, but we can also bond to ourselves when we're compassionate to ourselves, and we can create this secure attachment with ourselves. And what's also really cool with oxytocin, when we pray, we actually release, research says that we release oxytocin as well. So it allows us to bond with God. And that's my thought. That's my takeaway, is that he's put this in us so that we can bond with him as well. So it's very powerful. We not only see this bonding, we see reduced stress and anxiety, but we also see physical aspects of the benefits of that self-compassion and oxytocin. We start to see reduced cortisol. We see increased heart rate variability, and heart rate variability is this basically it's the interval between our heartbeats. And so what we see, and hi Maddie, I see you on. When we see this variability, this increased variability between the heartbeats, what that's telling us is that the relaxation side of the nervous system is more robust. And for those of us that feel like we're in a lot of stress, or we have chronic stress, we tend to have that fight flight, that survival mode side of the nervous system that is very robust. And so they're out of balance. And when we practice self-compassion, we can help to kind of improve that. And that's what we see when we see this increased heart rate variability. So it's just an amazing hormone, and self-compassion is so beautiful. So what I wanted to do today was to do just a little practice, and this is something that was done in research. So it's just super short. But I will start you with kind of like a little bit of, almost like a little breath prayer like we did a couple weeks ago, just to kind of settle in to your space and to calm and to kind of turn on that relaxation side of the nervous system. And in this study, they just gave a couple verses. It was basically like imagining compassion, just imagining receiving compassion and feeling it in their bodies. Because whenever we think about good things, whether it's gratitude or something joyful, something that warms our heart, we want to savor those feelings because we create more pleasure chemicals in the brain. And so then we start to notice those things more in our life. So again, in this case, what the subjects did in this study is they just imagined receiving compassion and feeling it in their bodies. So I'm going to give a couple little phrases that were used in the study. And in the study, what they found was that just imagining this, they lowered cortisol, that stress hormone, they lowered cortisol and increased heart rate variability. So again, that relaxation side of the nervous system is coming online more. And the more often we can bring on that relaxation side of the nervous system and strengthen that side of the nervous system, the more we can get out of stress and into balance and into joy and see the beautiful things that are around us that we so often miss when we're in stress. So if you will, go ahead and sit up nice and tall. So think about always when you're kind of getting into, even in deep breathing or prayer postures, just sit up tall, because think about what your posture is like when you feel great, when you feel alive, when you feel confident, when you feel your best. So sit up in that posture nice and tall, and just I would say if you want to engage the abdomen for that deep belly breathing, that deep diaphragmatic breathing, if you want to put your hand on your abdomen, great. See if you can really feel the rise and fall of your abdomen with each breath. Again, sometimes this takes practice. I suggest closing your eyes to decrease that visual stimulation. I don't know why I keep saying stimulation or stimulus. Anyway, just decrease the distractions that come about from what we see in our environment. So go ahead and close your eyes, or at least have a downward glance about 45 degrees to kind of decrease, again, what you're seeing so you don't get distracted by that. And just taking a few deep, nurturing breaths, sitting up nice and tall. And you can breathe just through your nose, or if you want to take a deep breath through your nose and then have a pursed lip exhalation, nice and slow. Slow it down so we're increasing the depth and slowing down the rate of the breath. And if you remember, this deep diaphragmatic or deep belly breathing is going to help to activate the vagus nerve, which helps to turn on the relaxation side of the nervous system. And then making any little shifts in your body, maybe relaxing the shoulders or just gently bringing them back to open up that heart space, open up that chest space. And then softening or relaxing the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, the cheeks, the forehead, the eyes, just softening everything. And bringing a gentle smile to your face. All of these little shifts, including that gentle smile, send signals to the brain using proprioception. And we're telling the brain that we are in a state of well-being. And bring your attention back to that deep, nice, slow, nurturing breathing. And allow yourself to feel that you are the recipient of great compassion. Allow yourself to feel the loving kindness that is there for you. Allow yourself to feel that you are the recipient of God's great compassion. Allow yourself to feel His loving kindness that is there for you. Allow yourself to feel that you are the recipient of God's great compassion. Allow yourself to feel His loving kindness that is there for you. And bring your attention back to your breathing. Maybe wiggle your toes and your fingers and gently open your eyes if they were closed. And that's it. Just a simple little thing like that. And research shows that just doing that can help to reduce your stress hormones or your stress chemicals like cortisol, and to turn on that relaxation response. So of course, pairing it with the deep breathing, it's going to help to do that even more. But such a simple little practice that to just give ourselves that little bit of self-love and self-care that can really change our lives, really truly can change our lives. So I hope you will practice that. I might just put the little verbiage so that you can listen to it, or just listen to this again and use that every now and then to just give yourself some kindness. Again, we need to do that for ourselves. So often we just get caught up in taking care of other people and doing things for others. We need to take care of ourselves too. If you just think about the phrase when you're on the airplane and they say, put the mask on your face first before putting it on the child. We need to take care of ourselves. And the more we do that, and the more we bring ourselves this beautiful love that is there for us, that God wants to give us, the more we can help other people, the more it's going to enrich our lives, and the more it's going to influence our business and help us to deal with those daily stresses, those big and those little things, and just bring more joy and beauty into our lives. So, thank you for being here, and I'm so happy. And we'll wait till next week. We'll do another practice, or not sure exactly what I'll be talking about yet. I kind of just do it on the fly. So, but happy Valentine's Day. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.